Hey, it's Christine Kane, and welcome to another Instant Uplevel. Okay, we got a really good question today. It comes from Cora, and I get this one a lot, but it's all about should you use your own personal name as your business name? And what Cora asks is, I'm wondering what your thoughts are on using your personal name for your business. That's what I ended up doing back in 2008 when I started up my practice. I defaulted to my own name when all the other good names I could think of were taken. It turned out to be a very good choice for me because, as we all know, being in business is a way to supercharge your own journey. Very true on all fronts, Cora. And I have 3 things I want to share with you about this whole idea of using your personal name as your business name. Now, first off, a lot of people ask me this, I think because they see my website is christinekane.com. I use my name a lot. And what I want to share with you in all transparency is I was a musician. So for 15 years of my own entrepreneurial journey, I was a singer-songwriter and performer. I released 7 CDs, a DVD. My name was on everything. And I got my own domain name back in the 90s when my friend Sal signed me up and said, you got to do this. And so my whole path as an entrepreneur has been, how do we then take a business name like Uplevel You and move this all around? And so we've had to create our own strategy here based on who I used to be and the profession I used to be involved in. So for you, Cora, it's going to be something where, since you've chosen it already, it may continue to work for you. But I always tell my clients and students, don't model me just because you see me doing something. I had my own path. You're going to create your own path. And the second thing you want to consider when it comes to using your own name for your business name is the idea of scalability. And that requires you take a little bit of time to think about, where do you see this going in 3 years, in 5 years, in 10 years? Now, I know for me, that would have been a really challenging question when I was a musician, because I couldn't have foreseen what has unfolded in my life. I couldn't have said, okay, I'm going to move into creating a coaching company and be online and have a global audience, and we're going to call it Uplevel You. Yeah, I couldn't see that. So I know this is a challenging question, but what I will tell you is scalability is a big thing when it's your name. Because if you want to grow into the 6 figures and even 7 figures, not everyone has that dream, but some people do. When your business is your name, you have to think of, all right, how am I going to grow this? How am I going to scale this? Because it can't just be Cora running around doing everything, because eventually you run out of enough Cora to keep that business going. So how is that going to look? And there are people, of course, there is Oprah, there is Martha Stewart, there are many people who have used their name and been able to scale it. But at some point, I promise you, if you're up-leveling your business, you're going to have to do that and consider that. The third thing you have to consider is strict technicalities, all right? And that is your name hard to spell? You know, is it something like Zolinda Drezinowski Stein Cruz? And you're spelling it every single time. You have to say your business name, and no one can find your website, and no one can remember you. That's a really big thing to realize in this time where everyone's just looking up URLs and Googling people. Another thing to consider is how does your name sound? You know, is it like, are your initials, you know, I know someone who, it was like Maria Tomlinson or something, who had MT Media after her name, and it was MT Media sounds like empty. And I just think it's like, you got to really consider those things and the little associations we make in our brain. Another thing is your name, you know, if it's John Smith or Joe Franklin, there's going to be a lot of you out there. And I would really consider that that's a hard thing to differentiate, especially since the web is where most people try to find you, and it's going to be real hard to find you. I think a lot of times people resist just choosing a basic, simple name to describe what their business does. We all want to be clever, we all want to be stars, and I think it's perfectly fine to call it down to the basics, and you could do amazing things with just a really simple URL that every time you do a radio interview, every time you do a TV spot, every time you hand out your card, people remember it. You know, createsuccess.com or whatever it might be. And I know some of those things aren't available, but many are. And it doesn't necessarily have to be your business name, but it can be easier for people to find you. So, Cora, I hope that helps you with your business name. It sounds like you're on the right track, and what you're going to have to do is get strategic about how you grow it from here. But for everyone else, I think A, it's great to have your own URL being your name. I think that's just good to have. But secondly, if I had to start it all over, I would start with a business name. Okay, so here's what to do. In the comments below, share with me. Have you used your own name as your business? How has it been? What kind of challenges have you come up against? And if you're thinking of using your own name for your business or choosing a business name, tell me any questions that you have about doing that, and where are you stuck in coming up with a business name. I will start the comments rolling by sharing one of my own experiences in this area. As a performer, like I said, I had my own URL, christinekane.com. It's where you are right now, most likely watching this. And I was out touring for several years and started doing NPR interviews and getting on little TV spots, and people would go search for me without hearing my name spelled, and they would find out that there was a porn star named Christine Kane who may still exist. I have no idea. But, I'd be playing in St. Louis and people would come up and say, I found a porn star site. Her name's Christine Kane too. And I went looking for you, and radically different show, I imagine, that she puts on than you do as a singer-songwriter. And so it was kind of one of those things of like, ooh, in retrospect, I probably should have gotten like every single spelling of my name so that anybody who made a mistake could find me and not find a porn star. Okay, comment below. Talk to you soon.